What's up guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video I'm going to be unboxing the Xbox Series S. So previously on the channel we already unboxed my Xbox Series X, but I have now received my Series S. We're going to be taking a look at this one. So this is part of the same generation as the Series X, but it's a lot smaller and has a little bit less power inside it, but it still has, of course, like the major takeaways of this new generation, such as like the SSD. And I mean here, like it supports 120 FPS. That is Xbox Velocity architecture. It does not include a disk drive, and then it has an SSD, but it is 512 gigabytes compared to the Series X's 1 terabyte. So I think I'm going to do a video, kind of a whole comprehensive video, like breaking down the differences between the Series S and the X. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way you guys don't miss out on that. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the Xbox Series S. So right here on the front of the box, kind of interesting and kind of cool. It shows off the new controller that we have here. It's pretty similar to the existing Xbox One controller, but it has a couple new takeaways and new differences. And then we got the Xbox Series S with its massive, massive fan inside, and to keep the system cool. So yeah, that's what we got on front. Like I said, supports up to 120 FPS, Xbox Velocity architecture, no disc tray, and has a 512 gigabyte SSD. Got the Series S logo over there. And then down here on the side, once again, it says Xbox Series S, 512 gigabyte SSD. And then it shows off the console itself. So that thing is actually so tiny. Up there, it actually will let you know. It says it is all digital. So if you have physical games for your Xbox One or even your 360, any Xbox game, you cannot use them on the Xbox Series S. So like right here, I got a copy of Black Ops Cold War, and this says Xbox Series X and Xbox One. And the reason for that, the reason why it doesn't say X/S, is because this one doesn't have a disc tray. So even if you had, a physical like disc-based copy of a game, you cannot use it on this system. You have to buy it digitally. So this like essentially becomes useless for this console. The good thing I have a Series X, which I can also use on. But once again, you can also use these on Xbox One as well. But yeah, this is all digital, just like the existing Xbox One S all digital edition. Up top, once again, it says all digital Xbox, shows off the controller and the console. So, I mean, just like, look at the size of that. We have like the size of the controller, and it's like, what, half the size of the console? So like, I got another Xbox controller over here. This isn't, an Xbox, the new Xbox controller, but this is an Xbox One controller. And so it's what? It's like two Xbox controllers wide is how big the actual system is. Like, that's crazy. But that's, once again, kind of, I guess, showing off the size and the form factor of the console, which I think you guys are going to be really surprised about the size of this. And then on the right side of the box, it says 120 FPS, gaming at up to 120 FPS, Xbox Velocity architecture, 512 gigabyte solid state drive, VRR, which is variable refresh rate, HDR for high dynamic range, and disc-free gaming. And it gives all the different caveats or whatever about like 120 FPS and stuff. And then everything that the system actually includes, which is an Xbox Series S, of course the console itself, a controller, it's actually that white controller, and an HDMI cable, and then wireless networking capability. So yeah, there we go. That is the Xbox Series S. And then on the back, it says Power Your Dreams. And it shows off a library of all these Xbox Series S and X games. We got Outer Worlds, we got Devil May Cry 5, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk, Ori, Forza, Halo Infinite, Gears, Fortnite, Sea of Thieves, Minecraft, and Lego Star Wars. As well as on the side, it shows off tons of other games. We've got like Master Chief Collection right over there. Then I noticed over here we got like Doom Eternal right there. And of course, Power Your Dreams. It says redefine speed with the Xbox Velocity architecture. Play thousands of digital games across 4 generations of Xbox. Next-gen gaming in a sleek, compact form factor. And with Game Pass, you have unlimited access to 100 plus high-quality games. So there we go. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's unbox this thing. So this is something I did not notice with the Xbox Series X. So they have these nice little pull tabs right here to lift this up, but it looks like mine is actually ripping off some of the box, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and use my knife once again. But just know there are these pull tabs on the side that you can actually use to open up the console itself. You don't have to use a knife. I've seen some people say that they don't like using a knife for this, that they prefer just to lift it out off its own. But alright, so if this is anything like the Xbox Series X, we're going to have to lift it out and open the box from this side, because I'm betting this one's kind of going to be presented in the same way the Series X was, which was actually really cool because it almost presents the console in front of you when you open the box. They did a great job with this, but here we go. Oh yeah. Oh, check that out. Xbox right there. Power your dreams. And dude, look how tiny that is. That is such a tiny console. There's the Xbox right there. Bam. Power your dreams. Look how tiny that Xbox is. Underneath here we have a getting started pamphlet that tells you everything that you need to know about your Xbox Series S. You got your Ethernet port, USB, HDMI, storage expansion, and your power. And then you have a security lock right there on the side too. So there's no optical audio for this. And then it talks about the controller, how you put in AA batteries for it, and how you can sync it to your console. It looks like in here is actually where we have, so we have ourselves HDMI cable, easy, and then we got the power cable for the system too. And then over here we have the controller. Alright, so let's take a look at the controller. Woo, baby. And there it is, the Xbox Series S, or just really the new generation Xbox controller, because you can use the same controller on a Series X, and you can even use these same controllers. They are backwards compatible. You can even use these ones with an Xbox One, an Xbox One, Xbox One S, or an Xbox One X. They're all backwards and forwards compatible. Like it doesn't matter what system you use. If it's like a new Xbox, you can use it. So pretty cool. We have our share button there. We have that new redesigned D-pad, as well as I think the bumpers are a little bit different. We've got some grip on the triggers. We have USB-C, thank goodness. That is, I think, my favorite part about these new controllers. And then once again, we have a grip texture on the sides of the controller. Once again, we have our 3.5mm audio jack, as well as our headset port. And yeah, that's it for the controller. I mean, it's pretty close to the Xbox One controller. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah, awesome. Also looks like it comes with batteries for the controller too. All right, guys. Now it's time to actually take a look at the console itself. So look how small this thing is, dude. That is actually so surprising. I mean, once again, comparing it to the size of a controller, like there's one controller right there. It's actually a little bit smaller than two controllers wide. But if we want to go off our handy dandy measurement of measuring things with the size of the iPhone 12 Pros, I mean, it's like the same height as an iPhone 12 Pro, and not quite two iPhone 12 Pros wide, and then about the same depth and height as well, too. So this is such a tiny console, dude. Like, I don't think you guys really understand the significance of this, of how small this console actually is. Now, I think in a separate video, I'm actually probably going to also compare this against, say, maybe the Xbox Series S, maybe in my review video of this, because this thing is so tiny. And it's truly remarkable how much power they have crammed into this in such a tiny size and form factor. Because this is the perfect travel console. I mean, it is a new next-gen console, so it'll still play all your games fantastic, and they'll all still be optimized for this new system. You'll be able to still play next-gen games on this. But it's also so tiny and light that you could easily carry this with you somewhere, that if you were traveling, say, you could even put this on like your carry-on bag, or you could have it in a bag. Like, I was even talking to my brother about this, and he says, like, if you had some cargo pants or something like this, like, you could actually probably fit this Xbox in your pockets. You could fit an Xbox in your pockets. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's unbox it. So it says power your dreams, and then it looks like it just comes off like this. There we go. And then we just take the tape off the sides. And then what's more on the bottom. All right, here we go. Yo, check that out, dude. That is so small and so light. That is crazy. But that's the front of the system. We got one USB port up there, as well as that is your sync button for your controllers. And then you have your Xbox button, which the button actually is, it feels about the same exact like button as we had with, say, the Xbox One X or the Xbox One S. Same stuff as we have about there. Underneath, looks like we got, I think that's probably what, air intake fans over there, or air intake vents over there. And then, once again, just like with the Series X, we have a little Easter egg on the bottom. It says, "Hello from Seattle." And that says Xbox right there. And then we got our little rubber feet on the bottoms here, and then also on the side. So if you want to, you can, of course, set the system down like this, just have it sat flat, or you could even stand it upright like this too. And since this system just has a fan, it doesn't really matter which way you orient it. But since the system is so small, like I kind of think that like nobody is going to have trouble fitting this anywhere in like their entertainment center setup. Nobody is going to have any trouble with this. I mean, you might have some trouble with like the Xbox Series X, but I mean, especially the PS5, that one's going to be like a whole other breed. But this one, you could fit this thing just about anywhere. But then we got more vents up at the side too. Then of course, our main big old vent here at the top. So this is where our big old fan is. This is what takes away all that heat from the system, from that new awesome AMD Zen 2 CPU and that new RDNA 2 GPU inside. And I mean, the design on the system overall, I mean, it's really reminiscent of the Xbox One S. Looks a lot like it. I mean, it's definitely like a step up, kind of an evolution, but it still retains that same design as well. I know everybody rags on this thing saying it looks like a speaker, but it looks good. And then once again, just like we said before, we have our Ethernet port, a USB, HDMI, storage, and then our power. And it's kind of cool too. They have these little markings here down at the bottom, so I guess you can kind of tell exactly what each thing is. So if if you feel two little dots, you're like, okay, so that's got to be the Ethernet port. If you feel three dots, you're like, okay, these are the USB ports. If you feel one like big old bump, you're like, okay, HDMI. If you feel four little bumps, you're like, okay, that's the storage expansion, and just one of them is your power. So I mean, if you're fumbling around in the dark, you're reaching behind it, you can't exactly see what you're trying to plug it into. You could kind of feel your way about what it is on the bottom, although I figure most people are probably going to forget. Most people probably aren't going to know, oh, okay, I'm feeling four little bumps here. Okay, that's the storage expansion. But kind of a cool detail nonetheless. And it looks like this Xbox Series S was manufactured on August 31st, 2020. So that is my Xbox Series S's birthday right there. It's August 31st this year. But there we have it, guys. That is the Xbox Series S. Microsoft's one of their most powerful consoles ever in one of their smallest form factors ever. And this is just absolutely incredible and such an engineering feat. And even though, like I said, like I have an Xbox Series X, I'm probably not going to use this to play a ton of games on. But to me, this is still going to be great, especially for portable gaming. So if I am ever, say, traveling for the holidays, we got Thanksgiving and Christmas upcoming, this would be a great console to be able to pack up and easily take somewhere. You don't have to lug around this whole huge, bulky system. You can just take this little tiny thing, take it wherever you need to go, really portable. And I mean, also if you're like, you don't really have the space, or I mean, it's also cheaper too. This is $300 compared to the $500 of the Series X. And it's still, once again, it's still a next-gen console. Still has that same super fast SSD, Zen 2 CPU, and RDNA 2 GPU inside. Like, this is absolutely incredible. And yeah, hats off to Microsoft for this. But yeah, that is the Xbox Series S, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you guys want a comprehensive review of this, that'll be coming up on the channel in just a few days as I actually get time on with the console, as I actually play some games on it and start using it. I'll post a review for you guys that you guys get to actually hear my full thoughts on it after actually getting to use it. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time.